Understand you soon, it won't be long. Keep on, keep running.
So we're going to look through the homework that was set on My Maths for plotting quadratic graphs. Normally, if you're doing this on an exam paper, you would work out your table of values. We also work through using the calculator, okay, to calculate your table of values. Okay, so that's the method I'm going to do on this one. I'm going to put in the equation that is in the question. So this is x squared plus 1. So x squared, and then I'm going to go over plus 1. Okay, and the value of x I'm going to put into the box in each case. So I'm going to be using the left and right keys quite a bit on the calculator for this one. So I'm going to go back and put in, so in this case then, when x equals 2, I always start on the positives. Okay, when x equals 2, 2 squared plus 1 is going to give me 5. So I can type in 5 there. Okay, when x equals 0, go back up into my equation. When x equals 0, my y value is going to equal 1. And when x equals negative 1, okay, negative 1. Okay, now take care when doing this in a calculator, because minus 1 squared is going to be positive 1, because a negative times a negative gives me a positive. And you can see when I put it into the calculator, okay, it gives me the value of 0. So I'm going to go back into there, and when I have got a negative in an equation, I'm going to put a little bracket around it. Okay, so I've got negative 1 all squared plus 1. And that's going to give me 2, which is the correct answer. So just a note to say, especially when you're using calculators, take care, especially in this calculator, you would need to put the negative in brackets to say I'm squaring that. Okay, so that's going to give me 2, and you can see now that gives us a symmetrical U shape. I've got 2 5 1 2 minus 1 2 0 1 1 2 2 5. Okay, so that's going to give me a line of symmetry. So I'm now going to drag these points over and plot the points. So 2 along the corridor, 5 up the stairs, 1 along, 2 up, 0 along, 1 up, 1 along, 2 up, and 2 along, 5 up. Okay, and then that's plotted the graph. Okay, I'm just going to click mark it. Okay, and then that's drawn the graph and marked it for me. Now, if we're looking at this one and we want to make some statements about it, we can see that it has no solutions, no real roots, because it doesn't come down as far as the x-axis. Okay, it gives me my turning point is at the bottom here, so we can say my turning point is the coordinate 0 1. It also means that my y-intercept cuts through at y equals 1. Alright, and all of that we can define just from the graph itself. Okay, on to question 2. Again, we've got complete the table of values for y equals x squared plus 4x plus 5. Choose 5 x values so that you can accurately show its shape and plot the points on the graph provided. These should include the turning point and points around it. Okay, so we've got to start putting values in. So always start with 0. Okay, it's not always going to be the turning point, and in this case, with having the plus 4x here, we know it's not going to be, but we're going to start with 0 and see what our values are. So I'm going to clear this, and I'm going to put in this x squared. So again, I've got x squared, come along, plus 4 lots of, and I'm just going to put a bracket in here, okay, and plus 5. All right, I'm going to go back across, and I'm going to put a bracket at the start as well. So bracket squared plus 4 lots of bracket plus 5. I've just put a bracket where the x is, hopefully you can see. So let's say then that that is 0. I'm starting with 0. 0 squared, oops, 0 squared plus 4 times 0 plus 5. Now because I don't need a, because I've got the bracket there, the 4 is going to multiply what's inside the bracket. Okay, so that's equals. So when, let's put it in the middle one for now, 0, 5. So we're going to try and go each side of that. So what about if we had x equals 1? Okay, what's that going to equal? So come back into my equation. Everywhere I've got a 0, I'm going to substitute out the 0 for 1. Okay, so 1, and substitute the 0 for 1, and then I press equals. So that's going to equal 10. Now looking at this, I can't show 10 on my graph. Okay, that's not going to, I'm not going to be able to show that on my y-axis. Okay, so what about -1? Let's try it. -1, -1 equals. That's going to equal 2, so I can show that one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move, because the positive value I can't show, it goes off my graph. So I'm going to put my 0 right at this end, because positive -1 will show. So when that equals -1, look at the calculator, it says it equals 2 on the y-axis. I'll put that in a second. That equals 2 on the y-axis. Okay, so I'm just going to delete these ones out for now. Go back to my equation. Remember I had a bracket squared plus 4 lots of bracket plus 5. So what about if it equals -2 then? So going back in, -2. Okay, -2. That's going to give me a value of 1. So -2 will give me a value of 1. Next. So what about -3? Now normally it would tell you which values of x to use. So this is a little bit, strange when we tend to work it out. Okay, now hopefully you can see -3 is going to be 2. So you can see this is maybe going to be my turning point. This is going to be 2 and 2, 0, 5. So I'm expecting if I put -4 here, if it's symmetrical, this one should equal 5. Okay, and I can tell that because of the symmetrical nature of these numbers, 5, 2, 1, 2, 5. Okay, let's check it out. So -4 -4 equals, and that does equal 5. Now you can see we could be moving this left and right as far as the 0 is concerned, my starting point, but all of these values I can now plot between the axes of -2 and 8 on the y-axis. So I'm just going to get rid of the calculator now and plot these points. -4 up to 5, -3 up to 2, -2 up to 1, -1 up to 2, and 0 up to 5. Okay, and again if I'd have gone -5 and put that in the equation, my top value would have been 10. So there is only 5 values that you could put in here that would work for this question. Looking at the question though, 10 points for working the value out, 5 points for plotting it correctly. Okay, so just click on mark it, and again homework finished, and you can see we've got 4 marks. Hopefully that was of use, and if it was, click like and subscribe. See you next time guys.